What's going on, guys? Jurassic here. Today we're back to Star Citizen. Alright, so we are going to be doing another tutorial video today on how to actually knock out the Comm Arrays. We have our spawns point set to New Babbage, which is where we're actually going to be buying our disc in order to hack inside of the comm towers here. Alright, so as soon as you get to the elevator here, you want to head down to the lobby. As soon as we exit the elevator, you're going to notice the sign up here at the top called Metro Loop. That is how you know that this is the correct way to go, because you're going to be wanting to take the tram. Now before we do that, there is going to be a armor station here, so if you don't have an undersuit, you are going to need to at least have that. So you can do one of two things. You can actually run up to the armor and hold F to buy each individual part, or you can run over here to the terminal, and we're going to at least buy armor for ourselves and a weapon. So basically all you gotta do is buy your helmet, the core, undersuit, legs, and arms. Technically bare bones if you're not wanting to risk too much. You need at least an undersuit, a helmet,
we just got a few new items,
and at least one of these items here. That way you're able to carry stuff on the side of your body. And one other thing to grab that's always nice to have is crews. You can buy either the green bottles or the purple bottles. And then last but not least, we need some sort of type of gun. So just type in SMG, for example. You can buy the C54 and you can buy some ammo for it. Now that you have your armor and weapons, you can go ahead and equip that on your body. Alright, so assuming you didn't have any armor at all, you take off your hospital gown, then you can just double click on everything. That's going to automatically put it on for you. Double click your weapon, it'll put it on our back, and you notice that we don't have our multi-tool, so you'll just have to scroll through your inventory till you find that stuff. For example, our multi-tools here. Be sure you grab the right ammo type. We have the P4, however, if you bought the submachine gun, that works too. And the reason why we bought at least one armor piece is that way we could actually hold our water. So you either drag it over or shift click. And just click on the ammunition types. That's going to snap it to our belt, which then that's what you actually use to pull. Typically people aren't going to necessarily be camping these spots, but just in case, you want to at least have something to defend yourself in. Alright, so now that we got the bare bones done, outside of the Keltu store, we're going to head back down the ramp towards the empty Metro Loop. Now coming around the corner here, we are going to go one more floor down. You're going to notice there's a bunch of signs here. We have the Expo, the Commons to the right, we have the Spaceport to the left. You want to actually take a right and head over towards the Commons. So if you get lucky in the trams here, you just go and hop on it. I know some of these guides are a little bit more in-depth, but just in case a brand new person is trying to figure some stuff out, that's why we're going over everything in detail. Now, to pull up your mobi-glass, you can click F11. And if you head over to your contracts tab and click on where it says verified and swap it over to unverified, these missions are going to be for Vaughn, and they're going to give you a lot more money. However, they're going to give you crime stats for doing the same stuff that you would typically do in a normal bounty hunting mission. So our goal today is actually to hack inside the comm towers. That way we won't get a crime stat. This can be useful for people who also like to PvP. However, the main reason why we're able to do it is these Vaughn missions give weevil eggs, neon, and a bunch of other stuff that you are able to sell for a decent profit. Quantanium, all stuff that actually sells really decent inside of the game, and you'll make a ton of money relatively quickly. Like 132 SCU crate of weevil eggs is going to be sold for 3.66 million. You do need to ride the train twice, so don't accidentally get off early. Alright, so if you notice the sign's going to have the commas and it's going to show the right arrow, that basically means we're on the correct floor. So we just follow the blue line down here at the bottom. And you want to run all the way up the stairs. You'll see the sign Commons, and this is going to show you that you are in the correct location. Now this guide's going to typically be for new players, so we are going to go over a couple extra steps that you don't actually need to do. But if you already have the tools to call your ship out in a ground vehicle, technically the ground access is over inside of that area there. However, we're going to go over it completely now. So you want to go to the commons inside of New Babbage, because this is where you can buy the Tiger Claws, which are a device that we're able to use to hack inside of the comm relays and also get rid of your crime stats. I typically recommend doing this over near Crusader, that way you're able to loot the ships without them necessarily being too close to the planet in a lot of the missions, especially around Yellow. So these little things here, that's what you're looking for. They do sell them in Grim Hex, however it's bugged and they won't actually allow you to buy them. The reason why it's good at Microtech though is they have this sign here. Just like the previous store, we are able to actually buy items. So as you guys can see, you can buy Tiger Claws. Now, depending on how many you want to do, you might want to bring a couple with you just in case. For example, if you're trying to take out 3 different Comm Arrays inside the area, you want to at least grab 3. However, grabbing like 6 in case something bad happens is a little bit more recommended. There's no such thing as a different tier Tiger Claw. They're all going to be the exact same. So all you have to do is double click on them. And if you scroll over, you're going to notice that they actually fit the same spot that your medical pens would use. So if you have 2 med pens, you can have 2 Tiger Claws on the side of your belt. Or if not, just drag them over inside of your core armor, which is another reason why you want at least 1 piece of armor. Alright, so after you exit your spiral staircase here, you want to run directly straight where it says Planetary Services. This is going to take you back over to the Metro Loop. You are going to want to run through here, take a right and approach the corner. You know you're in the right area if it says Elroy's. Once again, the ground entrance is going to be right there in front of us. However, we are going to take the tram back around to the spaceport, so let's take a right, head down the spirals, or the staircase rather, and we will take the train all the way over to the spaceport. Alright, so this time we're actually taking a left. The tram is actually here waiting for us, and it just left. Alright, so we only have to take it to 1 stop this time around. We'll be at the spaceport. This is where you're actually able to rent a couple things for you, especially for a new player. You need at least 75,000 to rent these 2 items. So on top of the gear, it's probably going to be totaling around 80,000 to be able to get into like a entry-level Vaughn mission. The reputation for Vaughn actually levels up super fast compared to everything else, so you will be able to get into the higher end stuff relatively quickly. So if you're in a multi-crew, it is recommended to at least have a Cutlass Black or something for protection, because the Mustang's not going to be able to keep up too long inside of these missions, especially when you get towards like the ending tiers. Alright, so exiting the tram, you'll be greeted with a new Babbage Interstellar Spaceport to the right side, which means you are on the correct floor, and just follow the areas here. It's going to take you over to the elevators. You are going to want to go up top and head over to the NBIS terminal. Alright, so exiting, you're going to take a right. You're going to notice the spaceport's lobby is right there, and just follow the hallway across. There's only one way, so I'm skipping some of the small traveling areas. That way it just saves a little bit of time on the video. And as soon as you get up top, you take a right, and you're going to notice the Regal Luxury Rentals. Now, if you're at Area 18, you can buy the... Now, if you're at Area 18, you can rent the Dragonfly for a little bit cheaper. However, this place, you can at least buy the Tiger Claws, so I would do it all in one stop. If you're really on a budget though, that place you can rent the vehicle for 6,000 compared to 29,000. So for example, if you're trying to keep everything local to New Babbage, that way you don't have to travel around the galaxy, you can rent a Oppa Nox for 26,380 AUEC. There is a ground vehicle summon area relatively close by, so I would go ahead and rent this if you don't have a ground vehicle. If you do, then you're good and you can just skip this step and move on to the next area. So you want to use your fleet manager, and you can pull out any vehicle you have. Command seat.
Ready for flight support.
Close all doors.
Closing.
Flight ready.
Pre-flight checks initiated. Stand by. Systems are go.
Call tower.
Requesting clearance. Stand by.
Landing complete. Have a pleasant stay.
Take off.
Confirmed.
By the way, if anyone's curious how we're actually doing that, this is completely through Emily. I will have a video out on it soon, but it's a super cool application that will actually have a discount for you guys if you're wanting to be able to control Star Citizen just like that on the channel. And just in case you guys didn't have a vehicle that's able to store a ground vehicle, we are going to fly up to Port Tessier. Now, fun fact, it's actually sometimes easier to fast travel out of a planet than it is to actually exit its atmosphere. So you want to at least be in quantum travel mode just in case you're able to do it before the atmosphere clears. You'll know if you're in a place that's easily able to kill ships and not have them fall to their death once your altimeter actually disappears. So as you guys can see, we are at 10,000 and climbing. Once you get to a high enough altitude on any given planet or moon, it'll disappear and that will show that you're in 0G. For example, right now we're still in atmosphere technically, but we can go ahead and jump. Now they're at Port Tessier, we are going to want to call the tower and get us some locking permissions. Now, if you guys are lost trying to figure out where you're supposed to be going whenever you're in a major city or terminal like this, if you click tab, it'll highlight the vehicles. A lot of times you'll see vehicles that are left outside the stations here. Basically, that is the easiest way to find out where you're supposed to be going. Once you get to the contact ATC part, this is where you can call them. Call tower.
Contacting ATC.
Please proceed to assigned landing bay.
Sometimes they'll be nice and put it close to you, other times they'll put it all the way across the station. By the way, in case you didn't know, there is a space brake which you can hold X, S, and shift backwards. That way you are able to slow down your momentum. X is the space brake, however you can use your thrusters in reverse, which is where the shift S comes into play to be able to stop a little bit quicker. And if you're trying to get inside of a hangar like this, it's going to be kind of hard to see, especially in first person for some people, so you can click on F4. This is going to take you into third person. It's going to hide your HUD, however, but I find it much easier to actually land, especially in a place like this. Now you'll notice there's a big light beam over there. That's because someone has their headlights on, and that's what you look like whenever you're far away from somebody. So just in case, you might not want to actually use your lights. However, if you do, it's L to turn them on. And as you guys can see, it does light up the area quite a bit compared to before. However, it also gives away your location much easier to other players. So we hold the Q or E key to be able to fully flip upside down. And if you want to, or have a ship that actually has the capabilities, if you click on K, that's going to activate VTOL mode and might make it a little bit easier for you to actually lay it inside. Alright, so once you get inside, it is better if you go into first person. That way you can at least see on the left side of your screen here how the gear is highlighted blue. That means you're good to go. Hold control to fully land. Alright, and once we touch the ground, go ahead and turn everything off. Exit seat.
Transferring protocols to Mobiglass.
Both ships will fit in the hangar with a little bit more room than the C1, so don't worry, yours shouldn't be this close to the walls. But once you get over to your elevator, you want to take it up top and head towards the lobby. Now, if you're at this part of the video, you're probably renting the Cutlass Black, so we are going to go ahead and store a vehicle. And you want to head towards the hot dog sign. As soon as you see this area on the left side open up, you want to take a left, and then a left again, which is going to take you to the next set of elevators. Once inside of here, you want to head over to where it says Cargo Center. Now, if you didn't do it before heading down to Port Tessier, this is also where you can get a multi-tool. Most of the substations in space, as long as they have a cargo center, will have it over here on the walls. So before we get to the rental section, if you want to find your tractor beam, multi-tools, that's all right here on the right, and you can also get your gear right there on the wall, or this little yellow dude right here. Another really good thing inside this game is to always have at least 2 cruise bottles on yourself, so you can go in and buy 2 cruise Lux. Alright, so once you have that, you'll see this rental station area here. You want to use the terminal. Don't talk to the people because they're actually useless. And this is where you can actually rent from a couple different ships. As you guys can see here, the Cutlass Black is going to be $42,336 to rent for 1 day, which is what we are going to do just in case you didn't have a ship that had a cargo capacity big enough to hold a vehicle. For example, the Titan is almost big enough to hold a ground vehicle. However, if you accidentally try to put it inside, it will blow up. Call our elevator, and now we head all the way back up to the lobby, which is where it's going to be hangars and halves. By the way, if you didn't get a kit on New Babbage, you can also head to the Galleria, and that's where you can buy your weapons and armor. Alright, so once again, you see the hot dog station, you take a right. Now inside of your fleet manager, if you just rented your vehicle, it'll be inside of here. However, we did not, so we are just going to click on retrieve.
Transferring protocols to vehicle.
Plate ready.
Starting pre-flight protocols.
Call tower.
Systems operational. ATC request sent.
Close all doors.
Closing.
Take off.
Confirmed.
Open star map. Alright, so this is where you can sort of pick and choose where you actually want to go. So we have a couple different options. We can head back to New Babbage and we can get it from inside of the ground access area. However, it's much easier to grab them from any mining colony, for example. So we'll go to Schumann 22, which if you're a new player trying to haul cargo with your brand new rented Cutlass Black, you can also get Barrel here and trade it over at Orison. Alright, so if you get to a situation where it says you can't go because it's too close, that's because your game's sort of bugged out, so you want to open up your star map by clicking F2. Click on cancel here because it thinks that you want to go to Microtech, but you don't actually want to, so we'll cancel that. And occasionally you'll have to warp over to the comms tower here, so let's just go to this one. This will put us in a different location in space, a little bit further away from Microtech. That way, whenever it thinks that we want to jump there, it'll have enough room to be able to do that and go on to the next area. Activate jump.
Jump coordinates are calculated. Activating jump drive. Navigation mode engaged.
And now you guys can see that we have to warp all the way down to Microtech, but we're far enough away for it to actually work. Activate jump.
Activating jump drive.
Engage. Quantum travel complete.
Alright, so now that we are approaching the mining facility here, just so you guys are aware, technically it is better to approach inside of navigation mode if you want speed. However, if you're in combat mode, you do have access to having your ship shielded to where you'll actually protect yourself. So once we get a little bit closer, probably about 10 kilometers, we'll swap over to combat mode. We are going to be much slower, but like I said, in case someone's going to be shooting us, we definitely want to have our shields up and ready before it's too late. A lot of the time, finding these places like this is super easy because you'll see leftover ships from the server previously, so just look for the white names, and once again, you can click tab to see it if there is any additional ships inside the area. If they don't have a name, that means they are unmanned, so technically someone could be on the ground, or someone could have left that ship there several hours or days ago. Combat mode.
Switching to combat.
Alright, so you're going to notice there's two really small platforms right there. I'm sorry for the quality of the rain. I can't really do too much of it. If you are worried about accidentally landing on top of somebody, I do recommend swapping to third person. That way you can see if there's anything above you. And for the purpose of loading our setup up, we are going to go ahead and back up. So just once again, hold Q or E to right yourself over in the correct area here. And before you land, be sure you have your landing gear all the way deployed. That way it's easier to get inside of your ship. Deploy landing gear.
Deploying landing gear.
Alright, so you want to be a little bit forward. That way if your bike glitches out some, it's not going to like completely crash into it. Go back inside of first person, and what you're going to do is you're going to click I. That's going to turn off your thrusters. Your ship's going to still stay here, but we are going to have our shields up, which you can see on the little terminal right here. Open all doors.
Opening.
And this is where it gets to be kind of a gray area. Depending on your server, some people might be trolls and trying to kill you, so I would recommend going and closing your door up. And be sure you have your helmet on. It's going to be a little bit cold on the side of this planet. If you have a lot of rain on the side of your helmet, all you have to do is click Alt-X to wipe your visor. And as long as you rented a ground vehicle, or if you have a Dragonfly or any other hover bike, you are able to go to any ground service terminals and call it out.
Welcome.
Yours will probably be spawned in a New Babbage if you did. However, you can claim it, and honestly, they take 6 seconds to claim, so it's not that big of a deal. And it'll be put on the pads right next to us.
Your vehicle has been moved to our storage facility.
Alright, so we retrieve, and it's going to be on slot 1. This is slightly bigger than what you actually need. This one's a 2-seater. However, the one that you could have rented is only going to be a single seat. Alright, so once you get inside, you want to do the same controls as a ship would have, so you would power it up. Turn on your thrusters. Now, just so you're aware, you are able to hold control to go closer down to the ground. This planet tends to rain and snow a lot, so it might be kind of low visibility. But thankfully, you know, at least this is a full experience inside of this planet. You want to close your cargo bay doors in case someone is trying to sneak on the side of your ship and steal it. Alright, so we'll park right here. So whenever you're getting off of a hover bike, always make sure you click I to turn the thrusters off. We'll leave him parked. Head over to our ramp, open it up, and that way we can actually drive inside. Now, if you had a Cutlass Black, you are able to just drive your rented vehicle inside your Cutlass Black and you won't have any issues. However, since I had a vehicle that I was already able to carry it, I'm not going to worry about it. Now, you can use your scroll wheel to dial back the throttle on these guys because you don't want to go too fast. And just slowly tap the W key. You don't want to like glitch up into the roof or go anywhere too crazy. And once again, hold control to lower yourself down. So go ahead and park in a way where it's facing what we need to. And once we are satisfied, click on I. That's going to lower it down and it's going to automatically deploy its gears and you're good to go. Alright, so now at this point, I recommend doing the comm towers over next to Crusader, which is going to be all the way across the world, and you can also set your spawn point to like Seraphim Station, for example. So there's going to be a planet called Yella, which has a comm tower. So let's go and just type in Yella. We'll get over inside this area here. You don't want to actually click on that, but we're going for Comm Array ST276. We're going to go and set a route. It's going to be quite a far distance, so keep that in mind. It might take you a little bit to get over there. However, there is better loot, and there's going to be a station literally right next to it, so I can show you guys on the map real quick. So Seraphim Station, that's going to be found right there on Crusader, so it's literally right around the corner of the area that we're actually going to be doing most of our stuff in.
Landing gear up. Engines destroyed.
And this is why you want to always be sure to have shields on, because sometimes you'll come across those kind of people who try to kill you. So the good thing about the Crusaders are they are relatively fast ships, so once you approach the outer space area, you're going to notice that it's going to darken up a lot more on your map here, and typically that's where you're going to be able to warp over to the different areas. Right now we're at 8,000 altitude, so once we get to about 12,000, we'll swap over to navigation mode and we should be able to warp out of here relatively quickly and leave that guy in the dust. By the way, there's this thing called deep space, which basically we can stop our jump midway through here and it's actually going to make him lose our signal. However, we don't have a bounty on us, so it's not like they're actually going to be able to track us anyways. Which is why we're getting rid of the comm tower. You'll notice the eyeball's gone. That's because we're in the middle of nowhere and you are safe to do activities around here without getting caught. Alright, now here is where it gets tricky. Sometimes Alt-H works and you're able to take your helmet off. Other times you'll have to drag it in and out of your inventory in order to do it. We left our other green bottles inside the station here, so we are left with the Crew's Darks. Restore, refuel, and recharge with Crew's optimal nutritional drink. Alright, so open it up and fill up your water. As you guys can see, it also counts for your food, which is why the Crew's bottles are actually one of the most valuable things inside the galaxy. Alright, now you notice that we're going to be storing them inside of our inventory here. The reason why we're doing this is because you can actually take 2 bottles and refill them up inside the game. I do not consider this an exploit because this actually helps server performance instead of having trash everywhere, since no one actually throws it away. And technically, if you see any Crew's bottles, whether they're purple or green on the map, you are able just to stack them on top of each other like that. Click on carry. And then, for example, you'll see that we actually have the drink option again. Or if we take it out of our hand, you want to go inside the vehicle and then drag it over your body if you're not able to grab it and put it back inside your inventory. Now it's going to go from 0% to 100%. That's just a little pro tip in case you guys didn't know. Once again, if you aren't able to see like this little blue object, you do need to move over to the right side of the inventory screen, and then you're able to grab stuff and move it over inside of your personal inventory. Alright, now by the way, if you head inside of your offers tab here underneath maintenance, you'll notice that we have a qualified comm tech, which is basically going to tell us that the Comm Array ST247 around Daymar has lost connection, so someone's actually turned this off, and that's an easy way to tell if the comms are down inside that area, in which case you won't actually need to go inside of that zone. You can get about 25 to 30,000 kilometers away from the tower before it becomes an issue.
Quantum travel complete.
So we'll actually want to call it roughly around here. We'll spin around, and we'll go inside combat mode. Turn your engine off. And this is where we take our vehicle over to the comm tower. Basically, if you drive over there, you are going to get shot down immediately unless you are inside of that. So you do want to be sure your helmet's on. I recommend going at least into third person to verifying it. You don't necessarily need to keep your door closed inside of this zone. As long as your shield's up, you should be fine. Now this part is where it gets a little finicky whenever you're trying to exit your vehicle, so just take it nice and slow and just, you know, like tap the W key just to slowly get outside the area here. Alright, once you clear your ship, you're good to go. You're able to go full speed, so this is where you can turn your thrusters on max capacity here and try to get over there as fast as possible. Now, by the way, this is totally doable inside of the Nox as well. You're going to notice it says trespassing in communication controlled area, leave or risk prosecution. Basically, this is where you are going to get in a little bit of trouble if you get caught. However, as long as you are on a Dragonfly or a similar hovercraft, you're not actually going to be targeted. So you can actually just drive directly up to where we need to go. And this is also why we brought our assault rifle or submachine gun for personal protection. So once you get inside these zones here, you're going to want to get up to the very top and basically just enter them. There was a bug a while ago to where you weren't actually able to hack them. However, that has been fixed, which is why we are able to do this video. Alright, now you do approach fairly quickly, so once again, if you hold the S key or click X for your space brake, that is going to slow you down enough to not crash into the station. You might think you're going slower, but these guys are actually relatively quick. Now you know you're the right side if you actually see the solar panels. If you're below it like we were, then you were actually on the bottom side here, and you're going to notice the door is going to be right here in front. So we can go into self-correct and just slowly get inside here. Now you don't want to get too close in case you like accidentally glitch inside the station here, so I would park a little bit far away. So like somewhere around here is good. Once again, you want to turn your power off and hop off of your hovercraft. It says you're trespassing, however, going on the side of these guys, you're not actually going to have to do anything at all. Alright, so now that we are inside of the Comm Array, we're going to head up, and then we are going to eventually be heading immediately down. This is where it takes a little bit of babying, so you are going to have to monitor it for quite a little bit for you to actually fully successfully do it. So you're going to notice that there's this little weird looking thing right here, and it says disconnect or reconnect uplink. So hold on, let's just turn it on. For the purpose of this video, we're going to turn the comm tower on, and then we'll turn it back off. So anyone inside of this area, once the tower's back on, they'll have some issues. Now the ironic thing is sometimes you'll get law-abiding citizens who want to keep the comm links up because they don't want PvPers to just run around the server all rampant. But the thing is they're also preventing the PvE players who are wanting to do the Vaughn mission, so it's sort of like a double-edged sword. Fun fact for anyone curious, you don't actually need to have anything special to reconnect the consoles, and it doesn't take any QTE prompts. When you're actually trying to turn it off, however, though, it's going to actually make you sure that you're actually paying attention. Typically, whenever the comm towers are turned on, it's going to be green instead of the red hue. And to pull out your Tiger Claw, for example, you want to click the 4 key, which then is going to allow you to click F to insert. So you just take it, slap it on the inside. It's going to do the crypto key initiated. And this is where it takes a little bit of time for the QTE prompts to work. So basically, as you progress through the system, you want to be, you know, checking to up top, make sure no one's going to be sneaking in on us. I believe it's 3 or 4 different prompts that we're actually going to have to do. You don't have to do anything complicated, honestly, though. You put it inside, you're mostly able to guard around, and it's going to eventually pop up a prompt where it's like 80 seconds to click continue or else it's going to fail. Alright, so there we go. We finally had one. I wasn't sure if it would actually pop up or not. So see how it says click continue? You want to hold F. You can scroll in with your mouse wheel if you really want to, and then just click on continue, and then it's going to allow it to do its deal. Normally we get a lot more prompts than just one, so we are actually getting pretty lucky in this comm tower. Alright, so there we go. We got another progress halted. Now, there's not going to be any AI that attempt to stop you inside this area. However, other players are able to see that we're doing this, so they can get a mission to prevent us from being able to fully deactivate the tower, or to prevent us from being able to activate it. It works both ways. Alright, so now that it says System Access Granted, you want to click on the Continue tab. It's going to check the Comm Array status. You notice that the lights are still green. Now you want to do Disconnect Uplink. And disconnecting the uplink will disrupt communication and ends services in the area. So we're going to proceed. As you guys notice, the power is no longer green inside this entire area, and now it is completely safe to do Vaughn missions inside of the... I believe this was Selton Zone? Yeah, this is inside the Selton area, so anyone that has a Vaughn mission around this zone will be 100% safe. We have knowledge that Daymar also has his comm towers down, so Yellow may possibly have it down already as well, which means that people have already been doing it inside of this area already. Alright, so where that terminal was, all you have to do is head directly up, and then you're able to find the exit, get back to your Dragonfly, and attempt to make it to your ship without blowing it up. So now that we're inside of it, all we have to do is click on I to turn it on the engine, give it a second for it to fully catch up with yourself, and then you're able to hold the S key to reverse. You can spin around some, try to find your ship out in space, which might take a little bit to find its marker. By the way, if you're doing a bunch of these missions, I recommend grabbing these boxes and putting at least one inside of your ship. That way you always have a notification on where your ship is going to be at. It's going to make things much easier for you to actually find. All you're going to need is one, so honestly you don't even have to do this delivery mission. Just run over here, place the box wherever you want to, and you're good to go. Sorry for ending the video off a little early, but I figured that I should include this in the video just in case you guys are trying to find it. Typically, you'll have a render distance of 15,000 kilometers. Typically, you'll have a render distance of your ship at 15 kilometers. However, doing it this way with the cargo box, you are able to squeeze out a little bit more. And by the way, if anyone is having issues with their ship being destroyed like this, you can actually turn your ship with your mouse and still fly forward completely fine. It's just whenever you try to use your Q and E thrusters, that's when everything gets all crazy. So just treat it nice and you'll be fine. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed this little tutorial, make sure you guys leave a like and subscribe. Let me know if you guys want to see more of Star Citizen. We do typically stream this game almost daily on the channel, so feel free to hop in any of the journeys that we do. Sometimes we're doing Vaughn missions, other times we'll be doing salvaging missions or bounty hunter stuff.